시베제 조심해도 리라올리제년데 젠바디 산제 이데보와예 조그는 제바조예당 구로라 간이야다야미 오야 다디 좋아되는 빛이시셔라 간신 좋아지기 간샤남도 좀 봐요르나 세대 디베티 니제 숨지 섭게돼도 다디 바체 조사서
섭게
누가 오야 다디 자와 전사清查 체 다저와디라 마저 왜자 단다디 로베 산제 이시기 아니디 숭디 어디 도나 다그 그위시 천나 튼비산 탐제지 산제 이시장은 강샤남도 전바 요르나 전담 춘이현라 되매차 下云啊，都是把起我了，这些年把学把也忙我在地，这我这个对，他这我开始他就青菜了，开始是吧？他地这我这了，但是他把这样的马继续讲上是吧？第你看下年人对你，只有你不他就把这是他落了。 아니 강샤와 타다 아니 랑그 냠len도 주위 님보 타도바데 너나 시와 종주진내 뒤비 태양 이메데스 에 종주 삼제 뒤비 태양 레데 조데 아니 조는 제라마 종가와 침복에 다 다시 공도 주와나 신이체니 남시人조면 봐 지자도 땡제 미로 통화 잠니네 니시 유지 진단 군제나 대제 따외 잡아 줘라세 다시 다가도지 여러와 땡제당 동반이오티 직접의 직접 해두바 렌조 마인바 아니 땡제라 때네 아니 가소래 동바데 땡제 순도 주바 아니 땡제 대화 중앙 미루바 통이윈 땡제 통화 잠니네 아니 내시단 denjingi jindan kuin chu di kna ba ane tizi tawa cheba zawa le ta ji xinza rwa shobzi che rwa.
So this to return back to the verse where this is on page 238 of the Zinji commentary, where it says that in brief, my virtuous friend, who is an actual omniscient being, if I mention his name, Sangye Yeshe, and he says that whatever appears, if one understands it, completely understands it as being thought, apprehended by thought, then one should have it arise as the ultimate sphere of phenomena without depending upon anything else. And then the verse continues from there. And so the commentary on that here says that here whatever appears should be taken within practice, and the ultimate way to combine everything that appears into the essence, an essence for practices. And if it says here in brief in the root text, so the essential point of the way in which one maintains the practice here is like this. And here it says that the chief among these of this is, as it's explained by Gelug Mahamudra, that when it occurs such that by the mere seeing of dependent origination as being incontrovertible and without any kind of alteration, but simultaneously the simple mere seeing of the incontrovertibility of dependent origination enables one to completely destroy all of the misapprehension of things, the objects which are apprehended by erroneously by the mind, which projects in real existence upon them. Then at that time, one has completed one's investigation or analysis of the view. So that's saying here then that one has to integrate dependent origination and emptiness such that they are not in any way, there's no disparity between them, there's no tension between them, but that they're integrated completely in a harmonious fashion such that understanding one reinforces one's understanding of the other and vice versa.
Oh yeah, that 대단 다시 얘기 반대다에 타냐다부터 수치고 탄탑지 시송부터 따와 잡아 채비 차주고와 저와시 총마 중게 안에 산도 담바레 와 대니 동비초 따와 담지 미중와 동니 따와 담지 미중와 동바 땡중 같은도 남 샤라라 안에 치그레스 다 예. 대나 돈이 지싱에 와니 다지 나주다지 경기 마고비 타냐 지싱 라나 돈이 지싱에 와니 다대 나주다지 타마와라 나주지 경기 마고비 아니 타냐데 지싱에 와라 라바레스 와 돈닝어데 아니 나주다지 타냐지 좀마도나 지가 말해 와 이면자 주르랜 데니 타냐지 나셔 께만 마시 마중 봐도 된단다 지신도 믿어봐 담바오.
So this is likewise is saying that or that statement is also repeating what is said by Master Chandra in the splendid Chandrakirti, where he again says that the conventional reality is the method and ultimate reality arises from that method. And as he says that when one so that shows the actual boundary of whether or not one has completed entirely the view, one's investigation of the view, and
제바 제비 차주고와 도서와시 총마 중게 산도 담바레스 다위 제바 아니 제바 제비 차주고와 조바 총마 중게 삼담바레스
다위 제비
제바 제바키 제바 제바키 아니 제바 조와시 고고와 차주고와 데려봐 차주고바 내가 고고와
이 타기 그거서나
내가 주고봐
내가 기고봐
제바 제바라 되네 아니 제바 좋아돼 차주고봐
제바기
야 가져서
타기 그거
차스는 내가 주고봐
내가 기고봐
내가 주고봐
다위 제바
따바 제바 제네 아니 따와 또니 따와 제바 제바를 때나 차주고 따위 제바 좋아 제바 제네 제바 좋아 그 좋고요 말해
저기 그거 줘봐
담보랑시 이름에 제네 텐데랑시지 뭐 주고 또 걸어와
담보 건가 녀마송
야다 대대대라케면도다 오마데라 니네 타녀지 남샤 꿰면시 마숑 봐도 간세 돈이 지싱에 와데 다디 나주다지 꾼지 마고베 타녀 지싱에 와라레세 돈이 시다와 진동에와 또만이 지싱에 와라 아니 다다 타녀 빌로라 나주다지 꾼지 마고베 아니 타녀 유단 제비나 잘라서와 수단 틀라서와 그 타녀 지싱에 여와데 지싱에 와라라 그래서 대라래와데 주주래 디니 타녀지 남샤 꿰면시 마중 봐도 된단데 봐 지싱도 믿어봤다 봐오.
So this means that one can't I'm sorry I'm absolutely befuddled here. 통배 촉도 받삼기 미용에 통바 denjungi dundu namshawala cheto so that occurs this delineation or determination of when one has completed one's examination of the view has to do with whether or not it doesn't come about from merely some partial understanding of emptiness. Rather, it only occurs when one understands emptiness in the sense of dependent origination. And that being the case, then in order to properly ascertain emptiness, one has to, that depends entirely upon understanding exactly as it is the conventions, such that the way in which so that when one is observing the conventional things that appear to one, one has to understand them as they actually are. Otherwise, one won't be able to understand emptiness properly, because this is as it was said in the verse above, that the conventional reality is what serves as the method upon which understanding of emptiness arises. So that says then, having that exact ascertainment of emptiness is dependent upon understanding conventionalities exactly as they are, so that one is not, here it says literally, stained by the fault of not understanding the way things are appearing to oneself in the present. And that's explained in the commentary on the Middle Way, where it says, this so this is in the clarification of the thought, the great commentary on the Madhyamaka Avatara and the Bhasha, the introduction to the Middle Way and its auto commentary. And it's, there J. Rinpoche says, this, until one has developed, until one has a faultless presentation of that which is conventional, then one won't be able to understand ultimate reality as it is. And this is pertinent to this context here as well.
Oh yeah, that didn't don't then you go then you bought a country and a son. Don't then you then you bought a carrier senata, Gigalo de Echena, on a chita John Yamnas. That don't then you do to deep Mumpty Josutin Mogasecha. Coden you boni. Chidar Johnamnas. Doning is in the Kazaki chain, Doning is in the Kazakis. Raw, Chernam Shella David, Danjung Musung Avis, Chernam Shella David, Danjung Musung Avi, a round of G, and a temata to Dendruchi Tomba, Musung Eva 2 days. Nana Tombang, Doning is in Baki, Kazaki, and a Chernam Shella David, Danjung Musung Eva Tiki. Dobji, Tamata, Dendruji Dombang Musang 2 days. Dendru Deme to Crossing, Dendru the Shankanaya, Rama Labama Shankanaya, Deme to Crossing. Teda, Denjuni de Gawa, Shala Rama Lava, the Denjuni Gawa de Rang, Tendikasa de Tamatovich.
So then one has to ask the question of how is it that one is able to establish conventional things, conventional reality. Then the commentary here explains this top of 240 of the Zinji, and it says that a person who has already ascertained emptiness, then through the force of having gained a direct ascertainment of dependent origination, which dependent origination here in the sense of that all phenomena are contingent upon other things. By the force of that, then immediately they're able to ascertain directly that things are empty of being established as real the way they appear to us ordinarily. And so then once one understands that it understands things being established as real in the sense of their not being contingent. That is, here the meaning of what it means to be established as real, or the way things appear to us ordinarily under the power of ignorance, is that that things appear as if they're not contingent, dependent upon things extrinsic to themselves. And so that one will be able to understand by means of one's own valid cognition that that kind of absence of contingency or being established as real is contradictory to dependent origination.
윤전 되나 다 동비 된중고 된도 좋아대 아니 가사 간대질 두고래서나 라신지 주어 두자만 매봐 또 바기 아니 가사질 우마와라 아니 동바 된중고 된도 좋고래 마도 라신지 주어 마도 발라 아 동바 된중고 된도 좋아지 매와대 대송거래라 되나 동비 된중고 된도 좋아대니 라신지 주어 두자야 매봐 또비 우마와 코나라 인지 대대신 술라양 마레스.
So that being the case, then for emptiness to appear in the meaning of dependent origination, this is only something that can occur for a madhyamaka, someone who has understood that there cannot be even a single atom of things being, or a single particle of things being established by means of their own intrinsic nature. But no one other than such a madhyamaka would be able to understand that.
Oh yeah. 술래 마인데 아란조라 동반이 마토바에 가사 아란 란자라 소와 대다기 원이 부마께바디 붙기 위튼도 샤바다르 마제원에 제와 가와나지 가와다 손에 샤바다 손에 랑신지 마께바디 땡지 위튼도 가와체도세 랑신지 마께 땡지 위튼도 가와체도세 랑신지 마께네 땡지 샤메도 제와 샤메도 봐 땡지 위튼도 가와샤서 제도 대다양 다다진 공도 샤바데 자시 지진 공바 대다양 자지 첨몰래 동비지 땡중고 텐도 좋아니니 라시지 좋아 참아키비 오마와라 인지 현란히 메노 시송.
So that's this. Then what that means is that for we ordinary people, from the perspective of ordinary people such as ourselves, we see these two things as being contradictory, similar to the way we would think that someone who is not given birth to a child is a direct contradiction of someone who has given birth to a child. So we see those two as completely contradictory. And likewise, we see things not arising by means of their own intrinsic nature, and dependent origination as being contradictory. We see the absence, things not arising by being unarisen by means of their own intrinsic nature, as we would see that if we tried to make that coincide with the dependent origination, then we would only be able to take that as a contradiction. And that's explained likewise in the great commentary on the Mula Madhyamaka Karikas, the root text on wisdom, where J. Rinpoche says that in order for the meaning of emptiness to arrive at the meaning of dependent origination, one has to completely eliminate by means of valid cognition things being established by means of their own intrinsic nature. And that occurs only for madhyamakas, but not for others.
다 준전 되나? 아니 유 간다 간도. 뒤 간다 간기체. 내가 간다 간도 주장. 아니 니바 쥐지 다다 매나 수주당. 연나 종주대 가르래에서나 아니 내중 찬섬지 군나 람비 최직대 최주보셨다 아니 동반이들에서 최직대 최직대야 최직대 다들 원래 최주보도 맡은 걸 가샤 앉았어요.
So that being so, that being the case, then everywhere we are, whenever, whatever occasion it is, whatever sort of circumstances arise for us, then by means of all of the ability that we have, we should, if we have not already gotten that view of the Madhyamaka, the middle way, then we should do everything in our power to seek it, to search for it. And if we have it, if we've already achieved that Madhyamaka view, then we should do, again, everything at all times in all possible ways to preserve that. And the only thing that is able to do that is dharma, which is motivated by renunciation and bodhicitta.
Oh yeah,我就想说，有个人浪费，俺那种就切记不得开始身上天天地道儿，他刚想当说准备用着那天他们当，俺那当你想了对面吃儿些这个成绩的切，天天地道儿让家了，看到看下量，处理下位干的，俺那怕了那么多菜嘛，太当太真把太大话当着，处理下位干的就开始身上。让我都出把现在让马来我的，俺这样是吧？我现在让马来我的，出下位干的，俺那的现在让马来把俺这让我的，怕着那么多菜嘛，太当太真把太，你让我出把真把他现在让马来把真把的，俺你我多半大怎么的，大把怎么的用人呐，用水人呐。是吧？出下我大家家己，俺那让现在让马来边家己让心干这么的那个，跟他们去应对，我的呀，对吧？对的，
So thus, regarding that dharma, which is motivated by renunciation and bodhicitta, on the way to preserve, maintain this view, or seek it and maintain it if we haven't gotten it yet, if we haven't gotten it, to seek it, and if we have, to preserve it. Then we need to examine everything, whatever appears to us, all of the things that appear to us, that
간다 파라 남도 참에 대단 진바데 다바 잠도 이르네 스 가자 라신이 주바데 시디 띵도 파 다바 잠 마도 라완도 메바
각차
그런 다바 잠도 요르나스 수샤와 자디 가지 라신 가잠지 메가테 아니 된담 치인데
So what we need to do then is to thoroughly understand that which is contrary to the object of negation that appears to us. Again, things appear towards us as if they were real, established in the way that they appear to us, and instead we need to
남도 참에 대단대 짐바 다와 링간디 카르레스나 남도 참아티체 디기 아니 딘진기 대대단대 짐바디 딘진 코랑기 짐바 다와 잠도 지나 딘진 코랑기 라신이 주바 짐바라와
남도
참한테 파르 남도 참에 대단대 짐바르데 다와 잠도 지나
So one needs to understand this such that one fully recognizes that the things are established by by thought, which is valid cognition, but they're misapprehended by this ignorance which falsely ascribes intrinsic existence to them, or that misapprehends them as if they were real. And so one needs to understand that they're merely designated as they are apprehended by the by thought, which is valid forms of thought, and then misapprehended as being real by the wrong view, which misapprehends them as being real. Again,
따왔다면 요르나
남도 쌤에 데이터 데즈바 딱받참
따봤다면 요르나
릭나
아니 술 샤와다지 가지 랑신 가탐지 다 랑신지 주바나 가자 술 샤와다지 가자 랑신지 아니 주바데 가탐지 내가 전담 치인데 아니 전담 치인데 가를 때는 또 와래서는 리비자고 땡대지 땡지 딜에 현비 지투라지라 소바 때문에도 차신다 네가서 지투라게 달라 땡 주바인장 때문에도 차신 참바 줄라
So then all of these things that appear to us are really these things appearing as if they were real are the object of negation. And when through the simple elimination of that intrinsic nature, which is the object of negation, which appears towards us, then when one has simply eliminated that, one establishes a mere negation, a simple negation, and that is the ultimate sphere of phenomena. And so that one has to have that appear and recall it by means of the king of reasonings, which is the reason or of dependent origination. One could say evidence of dependent origination, and without needing to rely upon upon other forms of reasoning, such as the reasoning of being separate from being identical, and separate from being other as well. The kind of reasoning that we discussed previously, which is delineating the object of negation and determining that it couldn't exist because it's neither intrinsically identical nor intrinsically other from its basis of designation.
오야 드니 샤유가도 리바슈와라 제진양바 줘봐 에마 차르 세디 대다 아니 чин 동반이 샤윙안도 세가 리바이시지 예메다고 슈와라 유 동반이래당 요전 아니 돈이 도비 이신이오디 예메다도 슈와라 어 예메 슈와텔라 아니 텔레 현도 미연와 제주도 냠바 줘봐 주나 아니 자와 개비 랑산 예바 임베데 예마오티 신동어 차와 중화를
So then when one la titar ching sharwe nangdu ripa yishi yemeta So when one has caused this awareness, which is now gnosis, because it understands emptiness without any kind of conceptuality or any direct perception of it, when that awareness has been caused to be indistinguishable from and appears. I'm sorry, I'm just losing it here. Chuying shari ngangdu. Rikpa So when that awareness gnosis has been caused to enter into the state of the dharma dhatu, which is appearing. Here, this is talking about joining the subjective perceiver and the object here, emptiness, such that they're indistinguishably fused. When one does that, and then without deviating from that in any other direction, then one single-pointedly maintains meditative equipoise on that. Then one has obtained the path which pleases the victors. And this is then, by doing that, by obtaining that, then it's emaho. It's extremely wonderful, something to be extremely delighted about.
Oh, yeah. 대순도 개루전부 산재의 시기 담바인바 무슨 고바 잡아대 무슨 고고위 준전의 가래를 해서나 고바 잡아니 니들 매나 하세 유치니 그가도 아니 유전 이신이 오지 예매 로치도 슈비 그 슈와디 니들 매나 시험만보 연나가양 아니 직접 그 담비 자원이 안다 단다디 유치니다 유전이 신임모죠 로치도 슈와对안에 당화디레스 직접 그 담비 자원이 디코나요는 시와상 니니 현지 현대비 당화되다 현지 미주바 아니다 라마라 때는 좁샤다 라마 태양 아니 강중기 뭐죠 봐 도단지 배도나 강시와 잠체바 자마 마인바 산제네 라미 파치 치러 샤네 현디 년에 년도 주바기 아니 중로 담바샤와 그간에 녀와시 거시 아니 내 친구권에 규여와시 규지 내좀 친구권에 규에 나와래사 그냥 간에 친구권에 안 들리지고 그래
간에 준비.
가이 친구권에 네
So this is explained by the this instruction has come from directly from the master, the great scholar adept Sangye Yeshe, and I've here presented it as he directly instructed me in it. And what he has said is that if one doesn't have that, then whatever else one has, there's nothing else apart from this which is enables us to achieve this chikchoki dampe gyalpo. Chikchoki dampe gyalpo. Chikchoki. So this alone then is the single king of instructions which is sufficient. That instruction alone.
아니 뭐네 란도도 샤위 아니 담텔 품바라체 란도도 샤위 품바 때문에 다시 품비 다시 되네 란도도 샤위 품바 샤라야 라마레 바기 때문에 아니 현도 땡디기 참에 파까 현도 땡디기 참에 파까 아니 파까 바기 크슈라 아니 가서래 샬라 라마라 바기 똥바디 아니 추샤와 그저기 동바 추샤와라 샤와라 리바 아니 돈이도 비 리바데 파라 슈네 냠샤도 진이도 종거와데 다 된다데 돌드나
So then this instruction, again, to just summarize what follows subsequently, is something that one definitely has to gain from the mouth of someone who has actually realized it, has understood it, and who belongs in a lineage that comes from the Buddha down to one's own guru. And it's only through that transmission from mouth to mouth, from the mouth of the Buddha to the mouth of, down to one's own lineage, guru, that one's able to gain the ascertainment of this. And so this is this is something that we need to, for ourselves, we have to receive in that way. And so this is also explained very clearly as well in the commentaries on the Doha. This is explained as well. And then, moreover, if we use an example such as a thing like a pot, and sort of take that as the example for the basis of this kind of analysis, then just from our own side, automatically, this pot appears to us as if it was non-contingent. The pot will appear to us just as if it's out there without being non-contingent upon other factors. And then from one side, using the power of the reasoning that one's received from another, then one is able to use valid cognition, the valid cognition which understands dependent origination, to negate that pot, which appears to be non-contingent. And then as a after effect, or the residue of doing that negation, then emptiness will appear to one. And then rikpa pashagne yamshak chin
파르슈네
pashune
키슈지 동바데 사모 동바니텔라 리바데 파르슈네 냠바샤바라 파르슈네 냠샤 주니스 종거와인.
So then one should place one's awareness within that within that emptiness, and to the extent that one is able to, should preserve one's meditative concentration on that.
Pumso deme tetaram se ho kyana ya ramale biteme an deme tetaram yangla hyena dene chuba kona de tenile mateba res yangla hyena dene chuba da yang hyena mateba chuba nile da dene wares teni karuji mato niga yimi shebas yangla hyena deba ingor yangla hyena mateba ingor res mi shebada pumso na rang gyujengi dashi so Kala Dusi Chenam, Yemeki want to song a sauce. Pumsona Rangi, Gujan Dashiso, Kala Dusi Chena, Yemeki want to song a so, Tetala Dua de Raleva Kona Imbas. Da Pumbala Sova Rangi, Gujanda, Dashila Sovala, Dua Res, Ra. Dusi Chena, Yemeki want to song the Tetala Dua de Raleva Kona Imba, Jela, Anita. So
with regard to this, just as has been explained above previously, with the way in which a pot, as an example, appears towards us, it is appearing towards us as if it was non-contingent. And that's the way it appears, the way in which it appears to us, that absence of lack of contingency. The pot appears as if it has is existing without being contingent. And then one needs to so then one has to examine whether or not it is possible for, there's only two possibilities here. On the one hand, the pot is non-contingent. On the other hand, the pot is contingent upon things outside of itself. It exists only in a contingent fashion, depending upon things that are extrinsic to it. So those two, apart from those two options, being contingent or non-contingent, there's no third possibility at all, and they can't be both contingent. Something cannot be both contingent and non-contingent at the same time. So that being the case, then we look at the pot, etc., and we examine how it is that whether phenomena exist such that they're dependent upon the basis of designation, etc., all of the specific causes and conditions that give rise to them. And when we look at that, we see that it's the case that all of these things are strictly contingent. That is, they depend upon other things. And then when one has done that in that way, then when we look, even when we just simply look at things with our eyes in that way, then by means of just looking at things like pots and so forth, then we need to, while we're doing that, seek out a very stable kind of ascertainment of this fact that everything is contingent. That's extremely important.
오야 대단하잖아. 아니 통화당, 최화당, 참바당, 아니 통대 체력이 뒤수양, 아니 난가라 대위 최기, 아니 동상식 차라자. 뒤 분비 동산태양, 아니 분비 탄야라, 분바 탄야도 여봐라, 민여봐 마세, 분바 최준소, 나샤 탐세, 아니 랑신지 동산 뒤, 권한래 태지,显了미대배, 아니 가서를 여제 근데 탐제 아니 유임제 동반이 코나기 친도 통화시 랑신지 동반 인자라 아니 다 차시 랜숨 분바 강가 아니 동반을 때는 중화 인장 여제지 근데 탐제 유임제 동반 코니 친도 통화시 아니 용아래
So thus, if we do it in that way, then whenever we see something like a pot or hear about it or remember it or we touch it, at all times, it's similar to, it'll appear similar to as if we were looking into space. And and it'll appear as a mere vacuity. The thing will appear as a mere vacuity, and that, even though that's the case, it won't. Not only will it not harm or compromise the convention of the pot being a convention, but in fact. It's only possible to establish all of the various aspects of the pot, its size, its all of the different kinds of features that it has, and all of that, within the context of that vacuity. But without, in no other context could one establish those things in a demonstrable fashion. And that being the case, then one comes to understand and to see that to the extent that things exist, the entirety of their dependent origination and the degree to which they exist is one comes to see that as simply due to the kindness of emptiness, which is the great mother.
Oh yeah. 대양 가와 분비 간다 인배 가와 가분이 간다 인배 가와 분바 가와 동바데 가와 동 분바 가와 동바데 아니 분비 조수 좋아 나신시 그러나 치단 나그 치 탐자 아니 라신지 통 주에 동바데 아니 치단 나그 치 대다 탐자 아니 조비 조수 좋아 다 대배도 순거리 다보
So thus, here now, something like a pot and a pillar, these are contradictories. They're different things, so they're not, they're contrary to one another. But on the other hand, So, however, the absence of a pillar, or literally means the empty of a pillar, absence of a pillar, functions as a assistant to the existence of the pot.
대다 권나조네 아니다 가서래 동바 또 베트남 권나조네 아니 배수 지지 주나 체럽 현도양 아니 동방 무슨 마저 권내장 아니 최신 퇴화기 던지 아니 동방이 따와라 파차세 봐요 그래 그러나 체디라 아니 권나조 권나 동방이라 아니 배 최선 공선의 소위 배수 체내 권나조네 배 동배 동이 도위도나 배수 주나 체럽 현도양 동이 무슨 마저 권내 아니 최신 퇴화장 아니 동방이 따와라 파차세 봐요 그래
So if one does that in all of the various ways possible, and one makes a great effort to understand things in this way, then even if one hasn't directly heard about emptiness in one's other lifetimes, then So then, if one makes a great deal of effort to do this, as mentioned above, to understand this in this way, then in one's future lives as well, even though one hasn't, even before one has actually directly heard about emptiness in that life, by simply hearing other dharma, then one will, it will cause the propensities that you have for the view of emptiness to awaken.
Oh yeah. That take you 아니 나두지 아니 대시 땡데 점래 군두주 예제라 마다냐야 땡데 점라 마다두지 대시 땡데 점래 마셔장 군두주 예제지 아니 돈이 또 아마 사랑 아마 거의 또지 그동안이라 바차샤비 또지 대시 땡바 점지 아니 돈이 또 왔다 버래
So then there's an example of this. There was a master by named, I think, Ashvajit, who, although he didn't explain anything more than the dependent origination of the Four Noble Truths, although he didn't explain more than that, then there was another ascetic by the name of Nyegyal, who was able to understand emptiness from that.
Oh yeah, that Dilma Lumabojido Shirashi Moja, Kashikela Jewa Temaji, Teni Jivirashi Yamai, Gela Rala Kande Tombache, Kankatoni Shit, Payo Yin, Sayagala, and it began like Jivi Doji, Jevala Tene, Adrashinji Majeba, Chitana with Chetamje, and it or Tamje, and it began la Raleba, Rala, Gujela Ralaba Yinza, and it Rashinji Tomba. What that did, yeah.
So this, there's lots of scripture in support of this as well. There's a verse from the sutra which was requested by Anavatapta, Naga king, and that says that that which arises from conditions, that is unarisen. That which has arisen from conditions is unarisen. That doesn't possess any kind of intrinsic nature of arising. That which is contingent upon conditions is said to be empty, and those who know emptiness are cautious, or are cautious.
Oh yeah, then Kevin Tenjushen Chenam told you that Tadawala Tampa Miss Yumiche Segala Kevin. And Tenjung Chena Doni, Ane or Tenjun Tomba, Tenjun Tomba Tenjung to Tony, Tadawas and Rashinji to the Tawala Temba, Yomiche. Gudan Jensi, Jenje Chushi, you may give me Chen, you're my China over time, the Gudan Jensi, Jendan Jeva. Remado, and it give me about the Jim, my impact, China won't be changing your marriage. That's one thing.
So likewise, it says then, those who are skilled, who are educated, understand that phenomena arise as dependent originations, and they never depend upon or never base themselves upon extreme views. Extreme views being views that things exist by means of their own intrinsic nature, and they understand the dharma, which is that things exist. They understand that phenomena exist with their causes and with their conditions, and that the phenomena are not without cause, without condition, or that is, without causes and conditions, there are no phenomena whatsoever.
Oh yeah, that's new order. The singing book, double singing, but then it because Chini Namshi Tombani, then you turn to Tomana, Rashi Chini Tombatan, Chajetaba Megashin. 아니 저니 남식 동반이 그 동화나 아니 동반이 땡중 그 동화나 아니 라신지 주에 동반라 아니 자체다 라신지 동바당 아니 군대지 남산라 소와 자체 탐제 태바 민가와 아니 도와 와 저니 남식 동바다 땡중 동화나 라신지 동바다 자체 태바 민가신 수마당 자시之间来样 땡중 니지 라신지 여바 크비 땡중 그 달라 때네 라신지 여바 크비 아니 돈이랑 여바 예배니 아니 야 누구라서와 규견을 때와 통하다 퇴화다 전비매라 아니 야한테 괜찮티 때네 야 라신지 매발 추고마치
So this is likewise expressed in the praise of dependent origination, which is also called the essence of good explanations. And there, Gelug Mahamudra has said, when I see that you have taught dependent emptiness in the sense of dependent origination, and that being empty of intrinsic existence, and things being able to being demonstrably existing within causal relationships, acting as having functional relationships, those two are not contradictory. So that's what he's saying there, is that the Buddha has taught that dependent origination has this sense of being empty of intrinsic existence, and that within the context of being empty of intrinsic existence, all of the various functional relationships of things are absolutely demonstrable and not contradictory. And that's from that text. And then also from the great commentary on the Middle Way, basic verses of the Middle Way, Gelug Mahamudra says, thus, by Denjung Niki, Rangjing Yipa.
Denjung Niki, Rangjing Yipa, Kibi, Tony Lang, one year best. Denjung Lang, one year bear, and then Rangjing Yipa, Kibi, Tony Lang, one 2 years, Denjung Dalian.
So he says, thus, by dependent origination itself, one is able to obtain a ascertainment that that emptiness is is the negation of things existing by means of their own intrinsic nature, or having their own intrinsic existence. And by means of that, then when as soon as one sees things which are contingent upon causes and conditions, something like a pen, writing instrument, and see that, or you hear it, or you as soon as you think about it, then by that very reason of just seeing it, hearing about it, remembering it, then one is able to think properly about the way in which things are devoid of intrinsic nature, and so one should accustom one's mind to that.
아니 티 굉장히 아니 라시지 매바 추량 라시지 매바 라시 매바 예바 아니 추 과대 통화다 셈바다 가서 미술 셈바라 아니 콤바 차고래서
So again, just by the instant that one sees or hears or recalls that things like pens, etc., are contingent upon their causes and conditions, then by that simple reason, one will be able to and ought to condition one's mind to the way in which things are devoid, lack any kind of essence or intrinsic nature.
다 대자 주나 아니서 돈이 또 왔다 가서 돈이 마도 봐야 마도 나야 아니 태좀 세워다 된저기 잠지야 아니 가서 태좀 세워 잠지야 시바 수버 쳐봐 주로 전에 시절에지라 소나 신천이 어디니 대주나 다 돈이 마도 어 태좀 채워다 아니 돈이 마도장 아니 가서래 돈이라 태좀 세워 잠지장 아니 시바수를 쳐봐 디벨라 그수불 그수불 소나 거지 차와 미쳐봐 티신도 그디 아니 가서래 수고선이 주변세대 아니 수고선 친지간에 거지 차와 미쳐봐 티신도 아니 시바 수부로 소나스 퇴좀 세밤 동반이랑 애와 예밤 퇴좀 세와 잠지장 시바 수부도네 시발라 시발레 마다양 코알라 마다양 시비 차반이 시비 차반 양바 인세 안다 라모 코만나지 중시로.
So here then an example, or even if one hasn't gained that kind of thorough understanding of emptiness, as an ordinary person, we don't understand emptiness entirely, but simply by thinking about it, or even having doubt about it, thinking, is that really the way it is? Is it true that things are empty, devoid of intrinsic existence in that way? Even to entertain the idea that maybe that's the way it is, that things are empty of intrinsic existence, then it's said that the entirety of existence becomes frayed, and thus that's an extremely marvelous thing. And so the example here, existence being frayed, is like a cloth, like some kind of cloth or clothing that one is wearing normally, and yet when it's become worn out and frayed such that it won't function as clothes anymore, it's sort of tattered, and so it's not able to function as clothing anymore. Similarly, when one even has doubt about emptiness, this causes existence, samsara, to become frayed. And when that happens, then even though one hasn't actually been liberated from existence, the functioning of existence has deteriorated such that it's not able to hold you the way it did previously, and that's something that the great lamas of the past have said.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And that you changing out to Rubashi water, this in Yambachoba, Emma Cha, said the town, and it and the Jibogi. Chigan Chima Patambaki. And he don't be on the repeat, don't go chat our two meter, Tenua, she was at that combat to Paku.
So that statement there is just like also the Lord Padampa Sangye has said, where he said that if you place the lance of Padampa Tampe.
Don't bring out to repeat, don't go chat our two tomes.
So if you place the lance of I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Of what?
Last two lines of
243. Sorry. So this is just as Padampa has said. If one swirls the lance of awareness within the state of emptiness, then all views will become completely will no longer impede you and no longer stop you, O people of Tingri.
Oh yeah, that day the angel that Martes in that one. That the Malosha, Jawadi the March, that didn't catch touching with such a matama, she's no shakira. Oh, that didn't Sharon Bochini, Chaja Chopo Juja, La Momba Salam Ziwa true. Urja Momba Gavi, to be Salam Nam, Dian Topo Ziwa Cha, Xie Sunshi. 아니 다도 지주 거상바당 거상바당 자오 대중 공도 샤바나 시지 다 유시 다 사주모这사탄 보래 자바당 슝루바게 대미대의 제도도 연대 제라 중에 매배수시 가와라 상任不起 충자 고선나네 저 고선차나 남방주 고선연대 삼라주 규律性呢相对较协送了他几天公布书呢讲切记恰话在了我有登记记龙年呢快乐大上不得了啥居民多来送把你叫我千万都这把严送广播间送的到广播间引把的日记是的日记引把查是他蹲做了捐献300个就是300个各种能个不计质量度直到当恰恰与区论的决当对内抗当样没对把当你样大比咱马拉什样都生这点你先都马别话是这接送吧呀去说他都我送把的아니300个我태그 말에 양다바 말에 저는 어디 송하다지 좀 뭐죠 연장 파비 교원 남지 잡아 남다 소소 교원 남지 유라 대신 교 담발라 담바 니 디바 신도 미사베 촌진지 당슈 토네 당나 니비 지차바 자도세 휴지전서 소와 대소 야
So there's a discussion here in the auto commentary of various views about these things. Some masters had disagreements about some of this. No need to go into the details of that. But it says at the end there, however, these amazing deeds of these Arya beings are things which transcend they're beyond the ken of ordinary beings. That is, they're not objects that ordinary beings are able to understand. And since there's a great deal of danger of creating incredible horrific sins or negative actions independent upon noble beings like this, and as well as the dharma that they teach and the noble beings themselves, then I, Chugi Gensen, pray that people will get rid of their animosity that comes out of being partiality, holding on to their own position as being superior and denigrating other positions. And I wish that the jewel light of pure appearance should pervade everywhere.
Oh yeah. That didn't teach la somebody did that go on with the take a man de pong any castle. 最近真正写下的，各位主管习惯你话他查阅，习惯你话他查阅，男的女的解决去，这他们在出当，咱别各位呢，这民间越来越启动我。
So then the verse 46 says, and this is the third sapche of this subdivision of this section of the text. The person who has said this, all of the above, is someone who has studied a lot and who has renounced things, and his name is called Losang Chugi Gensen. And by the virtue that has been created here, may the entirety of the world be able to not be separated, be able to, by means of this path, which is devoid of the two extremes, and which is the door to peace. May all of the beings in the world quickly become triumphant in the war over in the war here against the two forms of obscuration. That's out of the commentary. Sorry. By the virtue here, may all the living beings quickly become victorious by means of this path, which is separate from the two extremes. And so that's the verse. And then this is a kind of a promise or a statement, which is at the end of the text, and is dedication of the merit that arose from composing the text. And he's dedicating it such that all living beings should become victorious in the war against the two forms of obscuration.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that do more. Does it just when you sleeping in body, Jabber Kawa, you go in to shut up Molly ship in a charge them, then being in my think is a mother to be true on and you receive it about. 동화 순전한 유리제나 가수 때나 거기서들이 찾아들어서 선생님이 제제다 본 지시베주로 찾으면 제사비세비를 찾지 간디에 누비면 어제나 제제심을 로제지 엠비는 수tin데 발라 도구체비를 간담 볼라 주면서 도움비를 라마이 추대 발레주를 그외주로 세세 투매체비를 투매체비를 군다다라 저도가 와가지고 사바들이 만난 도시 전주시 봉원디 들은 조마물이 이제 부산 동화 순제제 찾은 리제 아메 따라 간들이的吧，起来了就我姐感觉个就是，告诉我查了什么早啊，姐我下巴养这些，养啥准备写下巴等下那个了嘛，那么的那个晚年的主办人不去问，那就是这么工地现在就去去，新北嘛个就是准备没多样的，把这全年在这一地了，总把让你记着吧。也行，他的去把人家说垃圾囤积啥，你不啥行，这把路子就在参谋那这些研究就代表讲把几张，休闲年轻人过了，等那参加钱币，说是有准备，假是有爬罗多，什么帮网络上去一件事情，其他全部这些人比如做了可能都，说把这些比数据数就我得讲，但把什么些没那边检测都就介绍我们个浪，哎呀，他得做介绍。
That's reading the last portion of the auto commentary.
Yeah, that I do one of my busy looking. Also, 그때 가지 좀 보지려 가서 저기 배사 와제 버려 상연자 좀 해시 저와 저 나무모드라 여와는 자사자 고인지리 신 오늘 가지 나로 가정 수만들의 지를 막 이제 이번 먹고 배자 저 주는 자와는 비투 주당 주제 재진 보지 주요 먹고 지시 비저 차자 장서 차제 야사 좀 샤버 차스 어다 디기 단데 마 로제 다디 저기 아니 차제 전부당 다 사진이 지나도 걸라 라마 담반남지 차실라 아니 다 라마 쳐봤다 제제 차진 그 온도 될라 라마 쳐봤제 아니 무엇이 될라 차진 고매테 손이자 라마 쳐봤고 지지지 산 차시 요한나시 전에 다분에 두스마 시사인세.
So I've there's the tradition then in teaching this text, this practice of Mahamudra, to have the Guru Puja as the preliminary, and then through the course of it and at the conclusion, then also to have Guru Puja, and so this is what we have done.
아니 저와 초사바다 뒤쪽에 야라 뒤에 마땅해 아니 뭐시 아니 시저 참배 값수 두모 남자들 마산을 다니 아니 뒤제라 아니 가서래 냥잖아가 더 돈이다 제도 주마다 손 돈지 세야지 아니 막게 저기 지나치는 뒤에라 저와 가서 sometimes 파진조와 진실 전유소소도 비시러지 담배 시장 대제 탄자와 전단년샤는 끝나주 시러 파진조와 진실로 세티가게 아니 양샤나 같은 돈이라 마찬이 아니 샤금 지야장 고매자연은 소소도 왔고 아니 지나치는 주말마다 담배 손은 다수 치신다 나 대만 비추되네 주미딩지조와 진실로 세가나 아니 저도 주말 때에 땐데 시마 대 아니 샤금 차니 고매셔도 심바리.
So then when one's doing this in practice, then one does the beginning portion of the Guru Puja as the preparatory practice, as preparation that precedes the actual meditation session. And then when one goes through that, and then when one enters into the actual meditative session, one does the review of the path up to the portion where where it says that one develops the meditation of the samadhi, which is like space, And then when one arrives at that point, then one does that meditation of the samadhi, meditative concentration, which is like space, and then maintains that throughout for that portion of the session. Then coming out of that, then there's the section of the Guru Puja which describes the way in which one meditates upon things as being like magical illusions, and one maintains that through the post-meditative phase as well.
무도가 되는 단대 이나데 간제 안에다 가서래 야라 둠바 제도 칸야름 바지 잠도 셈제 야라 둠바 그 제도 칸야름 바지 온도 체 디간라 안에 가서래 람 고마라 아니 마 자금치지 그 뒤뒤지 가와치네 된제 아니 뒤제 제라 아니 단단하시 전에 겁나 좋거래.
And it's also that's one the way one does it if one's doing using the entirety of the Guru Puja as the context for doing this kind of practice. It's also permitted to do this where one necessarily has to do this with the Guru Yoga as the context for the practice. But one doesn't necessarily have to do the entirety of the Guru Puja in that context. It's permitted to do this Guru Yoga, but to do it with the 7-part worship, or 7-limb worship practice. And one can do that either extensively or in an abbreviated fashion. And then once one has done that, then enter into the meditation proper, the main session of meditation practice.
아든도 달로 좀 지에도 개체 뭐 쇼차이 와리 되면은 아니 가서래 탄주에 따와 놀라 쳐야지 제라 가고요 와리 로 군단 창그 수마리 콩천도 샘삼 라지비 최대외 가라 매림시 야는 맞아 담보 권한이 최튼비 버진 동유희 전에 수완나시 전에 어견자 아야는 바신도 잡고 왔나시 아니 년 천도니 그 따와 좋당 가슴 섭지가 나시잖아요. 선자미르지 따와 줘당. 아니 뒤제라 오마란지빌르시 갖다준 시가 나시잖아요. 오란지비 따와 줘당. 되니 뒤제 전조 야보지 로라 고아지 내 손손 아니 탄주에 따와라 고아야보지 내고 하래.
So now, of course, Mahamudra is meditating on emptiness. So in order to do that, one has to understand emptiness. And the ultimate way of the correct way of understanding emptiness is as it's explained within the Prasangika philosophical system. In order to properly understand the Prasangika philosophical system, one needs to have an understanding of Swatantrika view, and then that likewise that to achieve that understanding it requires some familiarity with the mind-only school's position, and then those two are based upon the Sautrantika and the Vaibhashika positions. So one should, as much as possible, try to gain an understanding of this. This is, as it was said by the great master Guntang, who said that the so-called lower schools are like steps on a ladder. In order to arrive at the peak of views, then the Prasangika view, then one necessarily has to proceed up the staircase at the lower view, the Vaibhashika view, the Sautrantika view, the Yogacara or mind-only view, and then likewise the Swatantrika Madhyamika view. Those views, to the extent that one has the ability to study them and to gain some familiarity with them, then they will serve as a basis for developing the Prasangika view. Without some acquaintance with these other views, then it's very, very difficult to gain an understanding of the Prasangika view.
토와체니 시와체데 개체 최초의 차이와를 토외 천우 시와 주로 시와 나지 전에 아니 토 tenirang lojon chani kana ani mishebi member re dan sherab ku nawa re ma jeche ani tenje jonggu wa yinda 퇴화 de kechi shu chi cha ba re 퇴화 chi 가서 re 퇴화 chiye 어 대 개체 수지 달로좀 지혜라 고매를 가르 있나야 공지디 야부 시에고와 인상 원이다 퇴외 최는 시에지 퇴외 들에 도바지 퇴외 테마 임바보 퇴외 양한 대와 톱선간이 뭐다 두스마 연구와 인사 다 퇴와 개체 뭐지래 대에 참막이 다 가서래 이 단다 퇴와 점점 부단 맞은 바 체제 균도네 안에 소소지 lobjon chani jartan shwala lobjon chani anyo stemlen ba komjite de kachu shi chai waris.
So here then, in order to gain that kind of understanding, we need to hear these instructions, instruction on these views, and all of the subjects of the Dharma come about. Our understanding of them derives from first hearing them from a competent teacher. And thus it is said throughout the Dharma that hearing the teachings is essential. It's a prerequisite for gaining understanding. This applies even to ordinary subjects. Any kind of study that we want to do, we need to gain an understanding of it before we try to apply it in practice, and that pertains to meditation just as well. If you don't have anything to meditate upon, then there's not much to do in meditation. So in order to gain something to do in meditation, we need to hear what the subjects are, and hear how it works. And so thus it's said throughout the sutras that by hearing then one gains understanding, and through understanding then one's able to apply that within all of the different situations that you find yourself in life. And so that kind of study of the teachings and hearing them is indispensable.
Oh yeah, then 가서 그래. 장골라마 종가고 준비. 퇴내 10월 7일 고와양 제바 임배 퇴위된라 라랑 뉴와단템 라레를 내도 쳐 전에다 담나요래. 안에 대나시 참아 그 공부 시로나 쓰더니 와. 어디니 다
So thus, this is as J. Rinpoche said, that you hear the teachings and then you understand them to the extent that you're able to understand them as best you can, and then you put them into practice as much as you're able to do that. To the extent that you've understood things, then you put it into practice, and that's my request.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Om Ben Sabuni Pa Om Jin Sa Ji Om Ben Sareke Pa Om Jin Jari Gorwe Usu Yi Kalpo Rirab Charlu Papo Lo Zambulin Lo Palanche John Domina Lupa Ayap Dang Ayap Shen Dang Chokro Dramin Yan Dang Dramin Yan Kita Rinpoche Riwo Paksam Yishing Diji Pa Mame Baye Lodo Kono Rinpoche Anobo Rinpoche Sumo Rinpoche Lembo Rinpoche Lambo Rinpoche Tato Rinpoche Mapon Rinpoche Terchemboe Bumba Kemo Chuma Luma Karama Metokma Dupama Natsama Tijama Nima Dawa Rinpoche Du Chotanam Barkawe Katsen Suladami Belja Punsam Sokama Sangwa Mebas Nidu Wawati Datinjen Sawada Yubache Beldan Lama Dhamma Kebar Du Yang Yong Ki Kewe Shen Yen Chenpo Zung Me Jang Se Chu Ji Lo Sang Tu Bel Zambo Shangane Tekpa Chenpo Sung Ju Sapo Lek Bar To Pe Katin Wang Rocky Yundu Shingambo Kiyo Tu Che Dro Ek Tun Tu She Su So She Ne Kyang
Taso Droa Manjuna
Ke Taran Yembe Ketam Che La Tu Se Wa Chenpo
One Shinji La
Saji Pagi Jang Chup Sam Chop Rinpoche Make Bana Lekirte Evayang One Gondu Bewa Shu Dong Yi Dawa Rinpoche Make Banam Ge Gyurje Evayam Pame Vayang One Gondu Bewa Shu Sung dang sin be ni nang tru be sok nyen shi ten chung sap mo ji shin du sek shen son ze la me ten ba shok nang tru be ten de so
Be so den ban ru de so be
kang ri tru gi shen da wa
lo san ya wa yu ba che ba ye den den
ba du be chin chen po rang chen turn ye du ba ye gu she da ne bi men yen ki den ja che pe la so be go chen be sum me che chen la ma so wa de she dan ru pa si ji lu ba
ye
gel dan chin tu ni ma kyu pe tu lo dan che su chin sin pa
제당 제니로 메바 다 제바 존된 다
조로와당 레켄소다마그티레
예멘베드남데 뉴주 오야 다간디마 자산 펴고 있네 혼자 펴고 있나 아니야
So the break for about 10 minutes.